Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Faster Way podcast. I am so excited to be here today with Dr. Ann Shippy, who is a board certified internal medicine physician turned functional medicine pioneer. Dr. Ann, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get to have our chat.
And we met in person many years ago. Was it at the Consumer Health Summit? What year would that have been?
Oh my gosh, it must have been 2017, 18, maybe 19,
Probably,
but I
yes.
think long time ago.
Yes, it was most likely right when I was starting the Faster Way to Fat Loss, but I was primarily running my digital marketing agency for women in wellness is probably right when we kind of met and got to know each other. And it's been a wild ride since for both of us.
Yes, it's definitely not been a straight route at all, has
Right,
it?
right, right.
No. But it's so great to reconnect with you. You've gotten so much accomplished in the last few years.
Well, thank you. And we actually reconnected because I have been dealing with some mold toxicity issues. I do have an allergy to a couple of different types of mold. I was doing a parasite cleanse and we ended up getting reconnected via a colleague and spoke on the phone. And then we're like, oh my gosh, we actually know each other. We have met before. But there are many different topics I would love to chat about with you. One is your book, The Preconception Revolution. I do want to pick your brain a little bit as it relates to mold and so forth. But before we dive in, tell me when and why did you enter into the wellness space?
It was not what I was planning. I was on the fast track at IBM and as a chemical engineer, and I was getting to lead really great teams of people to do amazing things like get rid of fluorocarbons in our cleaning processes and manufacturing, like well ahead, like really caring for the environment, but making great products. And I got really sick. You can probably relate to some of this. I went to the Caribbean and I picked up a parasite unknowingly, and it really triggered my celiac disease. So I went from doctor to doctor to try to find out, okay, we treated the parasite. Why am I not getting better? And nobody could help me, and nobody diagnosed my celiac disease. So over the next 9 months, I really just poured over all kinds of books and went to different specialists. I went to an acupuncturist, an out of the way allergist, a naturopath, just like all these tools in my toolbox, and finally figured out how to get well again. But I was so sick, people thought I had cancer. I just wasted down to nothing, and
Oh,
I looked horrible and felt horrible. But that process of getting to heal myself got me so fascinated in how the body works. And then just knowing that we needed to be doing medicine differently. That just the Band-Aid, none of the Band-Aids even worked very well that they tried to give me. And nobody would really pour in with me to do the root cause analysis. And so I woke up one morning and decided to go to medical school.
wow.
I never having taken a biology class. It was a little bit up, I looked back and I was like, how did you think you were going to do that? But it all happened so fast. I took a couple biology classes, reviewed all the organic chemistry and physics and things to take the MCAT, and suddenly I'm in med school less than a year later. So, was really on my path with building the knowledge that I wanted to be able to really help people. But then I had a baby during med school and a baby during residency, which is also kind of part of this fertility conversation, because I'd had some issues with infertility before I went to med school. So I was kind of making these decisions, again, not really thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to become too old to have kids
Mm.
or miss that window? And I just got very lucky that I was able to do both medical school and have children. But I was pretty tired when I was done. So I went into standard internal medicine practice, which was not what I went to medical school for. But it's having a 1 year old and a 5 year old. I was just needing to catch my breath. But then that's when I developed a couple of autoimmune diseases. I got really severe Sjogren syndrome where I couldn't wear my contacts. And to have a conversation, I had to be chewing gum. And then when I did my lab tests, I had a antiphospholipid antibody um, marker, which meant that I had an increased risk for stroke.
Mhm.
So I got back on my path. That's when I found functional medicine. It was about 20 years ago, right when it was just coming on the map, and figured out how to heal myself from the autoimmune diseases. And that was when I got the courage up to be, okay, I am going to do my practice now of, of practicing medicine differently and being outside the insurance model, which was a huge step at the time. Now it's kind of common,
Mhm.
but very quickly people started coming and got very busy and got to start helping people the way that I really wish that I had had the help.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. How old were you when you decided, "I'm just gonna go to medical school"?
32. I
Wow!
know.
That is so interesting.
31, 32. Yeah. So
And when did you finish residency?
I was 39.
Oh my gosh, that is so inspiring. I am 39. My husband just turned 38, and I always think to myself, like, at what age do you stop kind of reinventing yourself? I actually just yesterday started learning how to play the piano again, and it's so I
That's
yes, I'm like, but I that's a really inspiring to me and everyone listening. You were in your 30s, you decided to go to metal, and that does not happen. Like, that is really I mean, just that alone, I think is fantastic. And then isn't it those of us in the wellness space who tend to deal with the most issues because oh my goodness, then we have the opportunity to turn pain into purpose, but man, it's like, I would like to unsubscribe from that phenomena. I would like to not be part of that anymore. Okay, tell me a
well, I
little.
kind of I joke that I'm a kinesthetic learner. Like I have to learn in my body.
Yes,
That's how
yes.
things really work because you can read it on paper or hear it in a lecture, but until you actually experience it, it's kind of um, just
Yes.
a theory.
Yes. Tell me what you believe triggered your autoimmune issues, which sounds like was in the postpartum time frame. What do you feel was the trigger of that?
That's a really good question. I think I got very nutritionally depleted. I
Mhm.
didn't know how to build my body back between pregnancies, and and I was, on call every fourth night for months on end, pregnant and postpartum. So not really the ideal circumstance to be growing a baby for sure. And I didn't know I still had a mouthful of amalgam fillings, and I love tuna fish, so I had a high mercury level, which unfortunately I passed some of that on to my kids.
Mm.
And I probably also was dealing with the mold exposure, but it was before mold was on the map.
Yeah, yeah. So interesting. So you have the parasite issue in your background, which really triggered the celiac. You were able to then resolve that. You have the mold that we'll talk about. Tell me a little bit more about the parasite. I know the symptoms you described from the standpoint of people literally thought you were struggling from cancer, you were wasting away to nothing, you weren't absorbing nutrients. How did you finally pinpoint that it was a parasite, and what type of parasite was it? And then tell us how you resolved it.
So the parasite was the easy part. That was, just kind of made sense. My gut was off at the time, and treated it. But what didn't make sense was that I didn't get better after treating it. So I just had, bloating, diarrhea, that kind of thing. Since then, I've become kind of an expert in identifying and treating parasites because they're so much more common than we think.
Mhm.
So later on, another point in my life, I went to Peru and I came back and I thought my gut was fine. Like I didn't feel like I had picked up anything, but I just started gaining weight. Like
Mm.
and I'm very lucky, have a pretty solid metabolism, you know, don't usually have to worry about that. But all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, 6, 7, 8 pounds within a month, 2 months. And so then I went investigating, okay, what's going on? And I see this happening with patients sometimes where it's just that their metabolism is off. Most people do have some kind of digestive symptom, like, they're bloating, tendency towards diarrhea, constipation, feeling like they're not digesting things right. But it can just be an uptick in inflammation and throw off metabolism, which I think is really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And so did you go through tinctures or a cell core cleanse to resolve the parasite? Did you see proof that it was indeed a parasite? How did you go about that?
So there are some high tech tests that we can do now that I use with patients that use DNA to find the organism. So we can look at a full spectrum of the microbiome. So good bacteria, bad bacteria, yeast, and parasites. But then that doesn't always pick it up. So I actually send some samples to a medical school in Nigeria because they do all kinds of special stains and sorting through. We also I'll also find it in the bloodstream sometimes, but usually the stool test will pick it up. Um, so sometimes it takes a lot of investigating. What I find is that the traditional labs that most doctors use, like a LabCorp Quest, aren't very good at picking up the parasites. They don't have the special stains and things needed to pick them up. You're making me think of a patient that I just had yesterday. She had 4 different parasites.
Oof.
And yeah, no, and some of the really bad ones that are kind of hard to treat. And she'd been from doctor to doctor. I mean, she had, digestive symptoms, pain
Mhm.
and diarrhea
Mhm.
for over a year. And I think it was such a relief to her yesterday when she's like, "Oh my God, like thank you for digging deeper." But it was the Nigerian medical school that found
Wow.
them. The high tech DNA tests only found one of them.
Wow. And how are you personally going about treating someone like her? Is it very specific based on the type of parasite? Is it a blanket detox that you're giving to patients?
So for her, I'm giving her a combination of herbs and medications because especially
Mhm.
since she's got a pretty significant infection because she's
Yeah.
had it for over a year. So I think it's going to take the both the best that worlds. She's going to
Yeah.
need medications um, kind of cycled through because the eggs and cysts are hard to treat. So
Mhm.
we're going to go on about an 8 to 12 week journey, maybe even longer, between herbal targeted herbals and then also some medications.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I struggle with the parasite conversation because it is really difficult to find someone who isn't too busy to really take you on and does have a solid experience and understanding of how to treat. I recently did a parasite detox, and because I'm missing detox genes, I have no copies of a couple of detox genes, and then I'm suboptimal on others. My die-off symptoms were really severe. Like, I've never in my life had anxiety, I've never had brain fog, and I mean, it really threw me for a loop. Now, interestingly, I've never slept through the night. Well, I have 2 times total in my life since high school, and after doing the parasite detox, I slept through the night 3 more times, and I had 1 week of feeling just absolutely incredible. Just, I mean, best I felt in years. No inflammation, sleeping like a rock, amazing energy through the day. And then I made the mistake of doing a liver flush, which is just
Oh,
stupid, to do, and that it literally threw me into a really bad insomnia flare, but I'm like, "Man, I do think I have parasites." I live in another country half time, I travel extensively, I have pets. But I don't know if I'm willing to really go down that path again because it was so disruptive, and I'm kind of, like, just throwing my hands up in the air, like, "I'll just live with the parasites, who cares?"
so I try to find the gentlest way possible to treat them because
Mhm, mhm.
I know, especially for me, like for my body to get the inflammation down so that it does run. I kind of feel like my body's kind of like instead of being a Toyota, it's a Ferrari. I kind of think yours is too. Like it
Mhm.
takes a lot of fine tuning. But if you do the parasite treatment properly, you shouldn't have the that significant of a die off. So there's probably something in the concoction you did that you really kind of pushed your liver too hard.
Yeah, yeah, my liver just can't handle anything. My liver is, like, always on vacation. So, if I ask my liver to do any sort of work at all, it just throws everything downhill for a loop. So, yeah, I'm definitely kind of like, that was interesting. I felt terrible while I was doing the detox. Then I felt amazing the following week, incredible. And then I decided to do the liver flush, which was a huge mistake for me personally. And I'm still trying to bounce back from that. And so, yeah, it's hard. I'm kind of, like, on a detox from detoxes right now.
Well, and like you probably just because your system is so sensitive, just have to do like minuscule, like
Mhm,
stretch it
mhm.
out over time. So like the liver cleanse flushes, there are some that are hardcore, and then there's some that are really gentle that you can just, you might not notice as big of a shift, but it won't
Mhm.
be as hard on your body because it's like getting a little bit of the sludge from the liver gallbladder out, not like trying to slam the whole thing out at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried to slam it out. It didn't even really work, but it threw my whole body off for at least 10 days. So here we are.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so that's the parasites. So that's really interesting. Talk with me a little bit about the mold. I do have an allergy to mold. I've recently gotten some of the mold in my home remediated, which has helped my son and myself quite a bit. He was struggling with sinus infections all summer. Every time he slept in his room, he'd come down very congested. I'm still congested. I have to use nasal spray to get to sleep at night, but um, definitely not as bad. But talk with me just a little bit about your experience with mold and then what you typically do for your guys and gals at your practice.
Mhm. So mold is kind of like another one of those hidden
Mhm.
challenges that we go through without realizing it a lot of times. I know I went through a couple of different issues with it before it really created a big challenge for me. But in about 15 years ago, I got into a hidden mold problem in my home and in my office, and I developed ALS-like symptoms.
Oh.
So, ALS is not supposed to have a cure and it's progressive. So I'm, waking up in the mornings feeling horrible. There's like my hair is falling out all over the
Ah.
place. I have so much pain in my body. It hurts for my kids to hug me. And I get so that I couldn't hold my arms were getting so weak. I couldn't have held a cup without using both hands. So,
Wow.
uh, and the irony is a few months, like at that point in time, I was 5 years into my functional medicine practice and I was still really attuning my skills. So I had gone to an environmental health conference that Bill Ray put on in Dallas, and they just mentioned mold toxicity. Like it was just a little bit of the overall, like looking at all the different uh, toxins. So that was when I started realizing, oh, okay, mold isn't just an infection that can happen in your body to people who are immunocompromised. It's not just an allergy. Mold actually makes toxins that are used for biological warfare or are
Mm.
so strong at being an immunosuppressant that they are then created to help people avoid transplants rejections. Like, so yeah, mycophenolic acid is a drug to suppress the immune system. So I had just started looking into, oh my gosh, I think I'm missing this with some of my patients. And then it happened to me. It's kind of back to the
Mm.
kinesthetic learning.
Yeah.
Um, I had a patient who had come in for multiple chemical sensitivity and we helping her get better. And she had an intuition that I was really sick. I thought I had it all together, but she's like, "Oh, I could tell you're really sick, and I think you are exposed to the mold that I was in the past. I
Wow.
want to come to your house. What time do you get off work?" Like, who does that? I'm so
Wow.
lucky. I'm so lucky that she loved me enough that she went out on a limb for me. She came to my house and had a very massive reaction that I know you can relate to with what you've gone through with mold. And she's like, I can tell this is Chitomium. You need to get out of here. Don't take anything with you. And I've had to learn more about mold, but it ended up that I finally did find the right place in the house to sample with Chitomium. It's very neurotoxic.
Yep.
And the thing that was so helpful is that one of my kids was really getting very, very sick from it. It was actually going down the wall of his bedroom. It sounds like a
Yes.
similar thing with your son and underneath his bed, but it wasn't enough when so it would happen when it rained, but it wasn't enough that it showed through the paint
Oh, yeah.
or got the
Yep.
carpet wet enough in his room. So it really took a lot of investigating to find it. But I feel really fortunate because now this is my third major run in with my body. And what I've learned through these three run ins is what I need to do to stay really resilient and really healthy. So, um, that I have the energy to run my clinic, write a book, do all the
Hmm.
things,
Hmm. Hmm.
which I feel like if I hadn't had these setbacks, I wouldn't have known what to do to be healthy. And then there's so many people that I can help now because I really understand the mold piece.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to ask next. And you teed us up perfectly. You dealt with the parasite issue, the mold toxicity, the autoimmune. But what is it about you, Dr. Ann? What is it about me, Amanda Tress, genetically or from the standpoint of our immune system that we are impacted where my papa lived to 94, passed away quietly in his sleep, would literally eat 2-week-old chicken, just put it is like an iron stomach, like never got sick in his life. You know what is it about us that I'm living in the mold. My husband's living in the mold. He does have a little skin rash. He does get a little stuffy, but not like how I'm reacting. And how can we reverse that curse? So share with me a little bit about what you learned about your body and now how you empower yourself and your patients to be more resilient.
Mhm. So there's several things and I know you talk about this with constantly is the importance of putting healthy food into our
Yes.
bodies. Like
Yes.
that's like having really good nutrients is so important. But I think some of these genetics that I think we have in common, like not detoxifying
Yeah.
great
Yep.
and also having hypervigilant immune systems, like they're ready to go to war, there's some benefit. It's just like sickle cell anemia, like that those genetics are great if have malaria. Um,
Mm.
so some of these same kinds of things for us, like we could probably survive Ebola because our immune systems are so like on it. But living in mold, it's just that chronic exposure, just it's like a snowball effect where it's like, okay, are we done yet? Are we done yet? Are we done yet? And it just keeps snowballing. And so part of it for me is like I really have to pay attention, even if I stay in a hotel. Um, that's not great. Like, if it's more than a night or two, I'm in trouble. So
Mm.
now I know these signs to listen to, and then we have to figure out what you can do as far as helping with the glutathione
I
issue,
know. I
or at
know.
least measure and see if the NAC is doing it. But I have to support my detox pathways. Like I have to be doing things like infrared saunas,
Mhm.
hyperbarics.
Mhm.
Got these really great detox baths, clear and restore baths that if I can do that twice a week, it makes a huge difference. And then really taking care of my mitochondria. And I know you talk about that too, the little organelles inside our
Mhm.
cells that run all the energy. I rarely miss a day of mitochondrial supplements because I know that makes a huge difference, especially for these neurological things that I was predisposed to
Yeah.
getting injured. That I feel like, that's going to keep me practicing probably into my 80s to,
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
to be doing these things where um, I know it builds resilience.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and it's maybe not fair that some of us have to work 10x harder to stay well. Or to detox, it's like my poor husband, he's like, "If you add one more single thing to your nighttime routine, like, I cannot." He's like, I'm like, I was joking with my CTO yesterday. He's like, because I don't sleep well, and "What's your do you have a nighttime routine?" I'm like, "My nighttime routine starts at 3 p.m." Like, I'm, like, on my PEMF mat, I'm doing ozone, rectal ozone, I'm doing sauna with castor oil, I'm like, yes, I have a red light blocking glasses. I'm like, I mean, but it is what it is. I think we just have to not look at ourselves as a victim, but as a victor and learn how to work around this and understand that everybody's biology and genetics are different. And we just, are special cases. So
When I
let's,
described my body as a Ferrari instead of a Toyota, that like it's just like, okay, I, it's the trade-offs, right?
yes, yes. Mine's a Rolls Royce, and I do need the good gas, the good fuel. Um,
Exactly. But I think you'll, make it because you are figuring out your body and it is so strong in so many ways. You're going to make it to 104.
105 is the plan.
Okay,
105. Yes,
105.
yes,
Okay, well, I was close to
yeah.
close protection and feel good, right? Like we want to have the health longevity. And I, I really think all these things that you're inspired to do they're gonna, it's so worth it.
Yes. Ooh, healthgevity. That is a really great phrase. I really like that. Let's talk about the preconception revolution. What prompted you to write this book?
Some of it was what after practicing functional medicine for a bit and realizing some of the things that I really wish I could have done for my kids. But I started having patients have like being told they couldn't conceive, and then they get pregnant and have four babies, or, and
Wow.
into their 40s. So I
Yes.
started seeing that, oh my gosh, these things that we're doing to tune up the mitochondria, help the body detoxify, get the microbiome right, build muscle, are all good for fertility and have healthier babies. And then the thing that really inspired me was having had some patients who had brought me their kids, like with autism, developmental delays, um, autoimmune issues, pandas,
Mm,
um, at early ages, go on to have super babies in their 40s.
wow. That's great.
So, so my desire is that everybody knows that just because they can get pregnant doesn't mean they should. That
Mm,
really focusing on their health and getting all of these things tuned up in their body 3, 6, 12 months before starting their family or between pregnancies can make a huge difference in the health of the baby. And I actually started the book in 2016, 2017, and then got derailed for multiple reasons. And then 2 years ago, I was like, okay, this is my gift to future of humanity. I need to get this written, and just really started prioritizing it. And it was so inspiring. The research that's gotten done in the last 6 or 7 years, even in the last 2 or 3 years, on epigenetics. So, how what we're doing in our body can influence how genes are being dialed up and dialed down
mm,
and really make an impact. Like all the things that I was seeing, now I have data to back up. My book has over 500 references because the research in this area is just so compelling. So one of the really fun stories is about for men. So we're in this men's health crisis where they're the sperm counts have dropped 50% in 50 years, and it's accelerating. Instead of 1% a year, it's over 2% a year now. So these same things that I see improving sperm count in my office, in my patients, actually help with the epigenetics. And we can start to measure that now too. We can look at not just what's the sperm count, but what's the epigenetics of the sperm
mm.
that then can predict. even how healthy the pregnancy will be, because it turns out that the health of the sperm can also affect the health of the placenta and the
Yes.
fetus.
Yes. Which is so groundbreaking because for many, many decades, probably centuries, the woman was always the center of attention. Oh, the baby has XYZ. The woman, it must be the female, the egg. Where now I think there is so much more research to show that actually, in many cases, it's actually the male and the sperm. So that is fantastic. And you detail that out in your book?
I do, and exactly what to do about it. It's what men and women can do in this preconception period
Mhm.
to really get things dialed in so that they can have healthier babies. It really is what I see working with my patients and what I wish I had for my children.
I am so excited to get my hands on your book for a friend of mine who's in her 40s and trying to conceive for the first time and has gone through some IVF cycles and different things, but is, fairly healthy, but I think could always optimize and maximize. So I think this is going to be great. You had mentioned to me on the phone that you've helped so many women in their 40s in particular conceive.
Yes, the I just checked in yesterday with one of the oldest who's 47. And
Wow.
she did the protocol for 3 months and then was going to come in and get, see, okay, am I ready? Because we had done a bunch of testing to see where she was. And they had one night where they were like celebrating something and they got pregnant before we had a chance to like give the official go. But yeah, she's going into her fourth month now. So
Yay.
so it's everything's looking good. She's feeling great and she's
Oh.
super excited. Yeah, there's this thing that seems to be happening on a spiritual level where I feel like more and more women are really feeling these souls that want to come in and be with them and their family. And we both had this feeling that it was a girl when we when she was found out she got pregnant, and it's a girl.
Oh, that's so great. That's very exciting. Where can we find your book and where can we find and follow you online?
Yes. So the book is The Preconception Revolution. So the preconceptionrevolution.com. I'm on Instagram and Shippy MD. And then we're starting a new one for the preconception piece called Every Baby Well.
Oh.
I'm so excited. And there's a new website we just put up too that has a bunch of resources that we're building under Every Baby Well. So that's probably too many places to tell people to go to, but start with the preconceptionrevolution.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. It's always inspiring to hear stories from colleagues in the wellness space and how you overcame and how you're now paying it forward in such a powerful way. So, thank you for taking this time out of your day. We are better off for it.
Thanks for having me. Love everything you're doing. And all of it is so good for preconception too.
Yes, yes. Bye, everyone.